Now's the time of year where a lot of anybody that's interested in gardening or has gardened in the past starts getting revved up, excited to see new seeds, where to get seeds, look through their old seeds, buy new stuff in order to get the seeds started, the whole deal, grow lights, everything. But if you're a new gardener, if you're somebody that's going, I've seen this, I've seen friends, I've got family that I want to start growing something, it can be extremely overwhelming, especially if you just go online and type in your favorite search engine how to start a garden.
Right.
Where to begin?
Right. So there's some things to keep in mind, especially if you go down that rabbit hole and you start seeing like YouTubers or social media people. It may seem like their gardens are just immaculate and perfect and all of these things. And I think there's something to keep in mind is that these people also had to start somewhere. So they may have 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years of experience. So you have to keep that in mind, that they have a little bit more experience than where you start. And also they may have some help, whether it be with somebody that they hired, or they could also just have help from a spouse, children, whoever. So if it's something that you're doing by yourself, definitely give yourself some grace. Or if you have children that may not necessarily be interested right away, that's okay too. So that's why we highly encourage you to start small.
And this can be simply a couple of containers on a patio, porch, or deck, a little 4x4 raised bed from rootmaker.com, myrootmaker.com, or you take some boards and nail them together, 4x4, that's 16 square feet, or you just dig in the ground in the backyard after you've made sure it's okay through Digger's Hotline and you've tested the soil. To be simple. I know that a lot of times people who are new to gardening, they want to go big because they want to have a lot of produce. And if you've never grown a thing in your life, until you understand how the procedure goes from seed to harvest and understand the problems along the way, it doesn't benefit you to multiply that by 100 times. And instead of growing, 3 tomato plants, you decide to grow 33, and a lot of bad things can happen, or, very quickly if you don't know what you're doing.
Right. So you want to make sure that you start with what you know that you're going to eat. And if that means you start 3 or 4 things.
And people may think that's a silly thing to consider. Oh, well, why wouldn't I just grow what I want to eat?
Well, we've heard stories of people who grow okra and hate okra, but it's because their grandparents grew it. And
that's a great memorial, a great thing to remind.
What are you doing with that okra?
Right, exactly, right. Yeah.
Anyway, so start with what you know you're going to enjoy. Maybe ask, whether you search for your growing zone online, what does well in that growing zone, and then perhaps do something that might not necessarily, not saying it wouldn't do well, but maybe a little bit more challenging. Like for us, typically root crops do pretty well, but maybe there's something in your area that does a little bit better. Keep that in mind. You want to be aware of fake plants, seeds, etc. So a lot of times you'll see these, especially once you start Googling, searching for gardening things on your social media, all of a sudden all these ads will pop up. No matter what you search for online, like all of a sudden when you're on social media, these ads will pop up, or just on the regular search engine.
Your garden group you're joining, yeah.
Right. And so then all of a sudden it's like, oh, look at these rainbow roses or something. And a lot of times they're fake.
Order now, 5 left.
Yeah, order now, 5 left, whatever. And those are fake seeds. And you're like, well, should I be super worried about this? And it's like, if it's too good to be true, or it'll say like 45,000 positive reviews, and then you click on the link and there's no link to click.
It's just images that's been embedded into the website.
Right.
If there is not a phone number associated, or if it's just a random weird email, it's not a good sign. If the biggest seed companies in the country, like jungseed.com, doesn't have this, or other major reputable seed companies where you can pick up the phone and within 40 seconds get a hold of somebody and talk to them, it doesn't exist.
Right. And so that is...
it is a big industry.
It's a big industry.
Big scam.
That's why it's good to make sure that you have a point of contact, or it'll, you go to the about page and it'll be like, blah, 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 seeds has been around since this time, stuff like that. If it's a big box store type website, it could be too good to be true as well.
If you have questions and you're going, I really like this. I like this. I don't know if it's screenshot it, get a screenshot and send it to us at gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will
more than happy to
will know and be able to direct you if that is true or not, and where to purchase it from a reputable seed dealer.
All right, so let's talk about having a plan. This is important because you might think, I'm going to grow avocados. And there's a lot of places you can't grow avocados.
And you're in zone 6
right.
in Chicago, Illinois. That it doesn't work there.
Right. And also it takes, some time.
Years.
Yeah, years. So have a plan. Think, okay, I'm looking for a yearly seasonal crop, an annual crop. And also, again, what will grow in your area? What is your plan for planting? Are you going to strictly be, a warm season vegetable grower? Are you going to start some cool season crops? What is your plan? If you're like, I need a couple months to research this, then you might be planting in the warmer season. If you're like, I've already done the research, I'm ready to go, then you could definitely start the cool weather stuff.
And it all depends on your location and the days to your last average frost. It may be 10 weeks before your last average frost date, or you may be in an area where you have a very minimal chance of frost a lot of portions of the year. So it all depends on when to start the seeds or buy the seeds. And that's another point. You don't have to go and start all of the seeds. If you're going to grow 8 different varieties of vegetables and 50 plants, you don't have to start them all. If you feel more comfortable buying the plants that are already established, that's okay.
And this can apply to flowers too. There are certain flowers I've been growing now the last couple seasons. I've been growing more flowers on our porch, and some of them are really hard to start, and you need to kind of have a whole plan. And not that I couldn't do it, it's just that and as much as I enjoy starting my own seeds,
there's other things in life.
There's other things in life. There's certain things that I'm better off going to my local garden center and picking up a few starts, because it's not like, again, I'm growing in like little containers on my porch. I'm not trying to grow a whole.
Well, your time is valuable.
Yeah, that too.
How much time versus, is it going to be, I'm going to fiddle with this for 8 hours over the course of the next 2 months and fight with this and not be guaranteed success, or I can go in 2 months and go to the garden center, spend $12 and have 14 beautiful plants, and the hassle and the headache and the stress is over, and I just put it in the ground and enjoy it.
And it is also like, it's very nice going to the garden center to look at all the plants. I look at plants I'm not even going to buy, and it's nice to just walk around.
It's like a pet store.
It is like a pet store.
Yeah.
When I go to the pet store, I look
at
at
the little
fish.
flower.
I don't pet the flowers. But when I go to the pet store, I look at all the fish. There's like glow-in-the-dark fish and stuff, and I think it's cool. Am I going to get a fish? No. I have a cat.
Glow-in-the-dark fish. Is that because they're next to the nuclear plant?
Probably.
Yeah, okay. That's a Simpson reference.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, accept that your plants will die. It makes you think of that from, was it Shrek, Lord Farquhar? Some of you may die. Some are going to die, and that happens. Especially, it's not like you should plan on it. I mean, not that you want your plants to die, but it does happen, especially if you're new to this. Like, I bought some petunia plugs, and I didn't really quite understand how to start them, and they did not do well. And I decided I'm not going to do that again. I'll just buy the petunias that are started. But sometimes there's a learning curve. But even for stuff that we've grown for decades, like tomatoes, sometimes they just don't do well.
And if you're going to start seeds on your own, if you want to start more than what you intend to plant, if you're going to plant 6 tomatoes and that's the goal, I'm going to have 6 tomatoes, go ahead and start 12. There's nothing wrong. You can either give them away or guaranteed out of that 12, 8's going to survive. You're going to have some casualties in there. It's just the life of a gardener. And you want to think about, we talked about what you're going to eat, and you don't have to grow enough to can or freeze or preserve. It's okay to just grow enough to have a couple of additions to your meal throughout the week. Nothing wrong with that.
Right. And if you don't grow enough for whatever that you feel, you can always go to the farmer's market, and now this will give you an opportunity to talk to the farmers. Oh, I grew some of these carrots just like this, and I just started gardening this year.
Or, hey, what is that? You can grow that here?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. That can give you ideas as well.
Have a long-term goal. If you're going to stay where you're at for, if this is your forever home, or you have no intentions, or you don't see foreseeable moving opportunities, you can look at the possibility based on where you're at and what your city municipality allows. But perennials, nut trees, or fruit trees, raspberry, blueberry, blackberry bushes, rhubarb, or asparagus, these things that can go in the ground and live for decades and have very little to no work on your end. Jerusalem artichoke's another one that will last for a long time. So think about, okay, I'm going to be here. This is worked out, or it's working out. I can take this portion of the yard and kind of turn it into a perennial area where I just maintain some of the mulch and everything and let everything do its own thing and just go in and harvest. Strawberries, another one, lasts 5 to 7 years. So kind of keep that in mind of what is your long-term goal. And if you don't have a long-term goal, that's okay too. Just something to keep in mind for those of you who are going to be there for a long time or want to invest a little more input to your landscape.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So these are some good tips for beginner gardeners. And of course, if you have any questions,
just a small amount there's a lot to go there. But if you got any questions, gardentalkradio@gmail.com.